Nigel Mohammed was born in 1890. He is Esther and Ben Mohammed's only child. From the moment he was born, Nigel had lived on the sea. He and Krasimir were the only children on board the ship. They were practically brothers. Nigel was close with his parents. His mother educated him on life, while his father was a little more on the playful side. His parents were very happy together. He and Krasimir liked spending time with their fathers. They taught them how to fight. Most importantly, they taught them to stick beside each other no matter what. In 1901, they were caught in a hurricane. The ship had been consumed by heavy waves and swallowed into the sea. Esther managed to save the boys from drowning but couldn't help anyone else. They swam to the nearest island. They were the only survivors. Esther worried how much time they had left. With the sun coming up, she knew she didn't have very long. When the morning arrived, the boys scavenged whatever they could for food. Esther told them what to look out for. They made a fish trap from sticks. As they made their way back, they noticed Esther wasn't moving. Her flesh was burning. Nigel tried to wake her, but she wouldn't get up. She was gone. They were on their own. They were able to survive on fish and spices for a couple of days. But it wasn't long before they became dehydrated. Luckily, they were found and brought to land before they could meet their demise. They spent the next decade on land stealing and scavenging to get by. Nigel had become allergic to the sun due to his powers, so he sought shelter during the day. At night, he would feast on the locals. Then Krasimir would rob them while they were down. They weren't always successful. When they weren't causing trouble, they were spending time with their girlfriends. For Krasimir, that was a trouble of its own. He was a bit of a player. One afternoon, he found a ship that looked just like their old one. It was exactly what they were looking for. He asked the captain if they could be recruited. The old man told him that he would only need them to swab the deck. Krasimir explained they were more than happy to do that. With that settled, they would leave that night. Nigel said his goodbyes to his girlfriend before setting sail. They were on the sea for years. They never felt more free. The world was theirs for the taking. By then, Nigel had mastered his powers and was no longer allergic to the sun. Despite their years on the sea, there was still so much to learn about what lived beneath the surface. They've been to many countries across the globe and met interesting people. And many women. Krasimir enjoyed their company. After a few days partying on land, Nigel prepared to set sail. It was a little foggy, but the water was calm. When the night came, the weather had gotten worse. The captain was out cold from too many drinks, so Krasimir had to steer them to safety. But the waves were too strong. They were thrown all over the place. The whole crew went overboard. Somehow they ended up on an island. With nowhere to go, they set up camp for the night. They were castaways once again. While everyone got their rest, Nigel stayed up watching the waves. He noticed a strange fish in the water. It looked like a woman. He would see this mysterious creature every night after that. Sometimes he'd see her during the day. One night as he was sleeping, he was approached by a beautiful woman. She seemed very familiar. Her kiss felt like a dream. The next day, Their ship arrived with their captain in one piece. Both survived the storm. They were relieved to see him. They sailed off at sunset. Every night Nigel looked out to the sea in search for the woman. After weeks of no sign, he saw her again. With no hesitation, he jumped in after her. He was thrilled to see her again. She swam him back to shore. They spent some time together, but she couldn't stay for long. He would wait for her again, but she wouldn't show. What was weeks became months without her. In that time, Krasimir was married to a woman named Alexandria. They were very happy together. Nigel still couldn't get his mind off the fish girl. He didn't even know her name. A year later, Krasimir was expecting his first child. Nigel finally saw her again. But she wasn't alone. She introduced him to his daughter, Calypso. Nigel couldn't believe he had a child. She told him that Calypso was too young to stay out of water too long. But she wanted him to meet her. He didn't want them to leave, he wanted to be a family. Calypso wouldn't be able to survive on land until she was 13. It hurt, hearing that he wouldn't see his baby until she was much older. But that was the way things had to be. He handed her back to her mother. Then off they went. When Krasimir's son was born, Nigel's heart ached terribly. He was missing out on so much with his little girl. Krasimir would go on to have 4 more kids. Nigel lended him and his wife a hand in taking care of them. There was Alexei, Nikolai, Nadia, Dragan, and Svetoslav. When Alexei turned 13, Nigel went to the waters in search for his daughter. Calypso and her mother would be there. And they would finally get to be a family.